Hello, welcome back to another breaking news update. My name is Jimmy Boyd, and you were watching Boyd News. I want to thank you so much for tuning in today. I've got a very big update coming out from the war between Israel and Hamas in the Gaza Strip to share with all of you. So, a new report just breaking today indicates that this war could be over by the end of the week. Take a look at your screen here. United States sees potential for Gaza ceasefire as soon as this week. U.S. officials believe a ceasefire and hostages release deal in the Israel-Hamas war is now in sight, and what marks the first real sign of serious optimism inside the Biden administration in months. Okay, so the Biden administration has tried to end this war multiple times, and the negotiations have always fallen through, whether it be Israel or Hamas. But it looks highly likely that potentially we could see this war ending by the end of the week. And I want to give you guys all the details on this. I even have some information talking about some aspects of this truce deal and what will entail behind it. And also, I want to talk a little bit about what's going to happen in case this time around, once again, these hostage and negotiation deals end up falling through and this truce deal ends up not being implemented. Okay, we'll talk about some of the implications here that could happen soon after if we do not see this war ending by the end of the week or potentially by the time Donald Trump gets into office. So I want to hop into this now. We're going to jump on over to mainstream news just for a moment from Al Jazeera. U.S. says Gaza truce deal possible this week as Israel ramps up attacks. Nothing is guaranteed yet, but an agreement could take shape soon, angering hardliners in Israel. So here's a photo coming out from Gaza showing it completely devastated due to all the aerial bombardments from the Israeli military. So Gaza has been hammered very hard over the last couple of months as Israel is moving towards this truce deal right now. So it says here, the United States says it sees the potential for a Gaza ceasefire to be reached as early as this week as the Israeli military continues to hammer the enclave to deadly effect. White House National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan said during a news conference on Monday that while a deal may be possible within days, it is not guaranteed. We are now at a pivotal point in the negotiations for a hostage deal and ceasefire in Gaza, Sullivan said, adding U.S. President Joe Biden had recently spoken with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and Qatari Emir Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani about the negotiations. The outgoing U.S. president will also soon speak to Egyptian President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi. He said, "We are close to a deal and it can get done this week. I'm not making a promise or a prediction, but it is there for the taking, and we are able to work to make it happen," Sullivan said. Ceasefire talks mediated by the U.S. along with Qatar and Egypt are ongoing at advanced stages in Doha, where top Israeli negotiators like the heads of Mossad and Shin Bet intelligence agencies are expected to stay for another day. Okay, so it looks like the Biden administration is pretty optimistic about this deal potentially going through very soon. Maybe we'll see this war come to an end by the end of the week. Maybe not. It really all depends. But now we're going to hop on over to X, and I'll show you some of the details regarding this truce deal and what's going to happen if it ends up getting implemented, okay? So from suppressed news, breaking, Netanyahu is preparing to present the agreement to end the war in Gaza to his government tomorrow for approval. The exchange deal will be supported by the majority of government ministers with 27 votes, and 7 will vote against it. Channel 12 Hebrew published some details of the crystallized deal, quoting a political official. The first phase, called the humanitarian phase, involves the release of 33 hostages. Okay, the second phase, the liberation of all, which will be the remainder of the hostages, will begin to be discussed in detail during the implementation of the first phase. The Israeli army will not withdraw from the Gaza Strip until all hostages are returned to their homes. Okay, so they won't be leaving anytime soon until the second phase is completely implemented and the hostages are returned. In the first phase, all women, whether civilians or soldiers, will be released, as well as children, the elderly over 50, the wounded, and the sick, a list of 33 people by name. This period will last over several weeks. Starting on the 16th, the implementation of the second stage will be discussed, in which Israel aims to return all of the hostages. As part of the agreement, security measures will be arranged to allow Gaza residents to move to the northern parts of the Strip. Okay, so we can see here, clearly the major goal is to make sure that all the hostages are returned back to Israel. And soon after that, that's when the Israelis will pull out of the Gaza Strip, and then eventually the Gaza residents will be able to move back to the northern side of the Strip, which right now I believe that's where a lot of the heavy fighting is taking place. So again, this was according to Channel 12 News today out of Israel, okay? So, also another update here that I have for you from Susan Crabtree on the hostages taken by Hamas. Trump vows that all hell will break out if those hostages aren't back by the time he's in office. Reporters pressed him to elaborate on what that means. Trump declined to do so, reiterating several times that all hell will break loose if the hostages are not freed. I don't want to hurt your negotiation if they're not back by the time I get in office. All hell will break out in the Middle East, and it will not be good for Hamas. It will not be good, frankly, for anyone. All hell will break out. I don't have to say any more, but that's what it is. And they should have given them back a long time ago. They should have never taken, there should have never been the attack of October 7th. Okay, so that was a statement that came out from Donald Trump just a few days ago during a press conference. This little screenshot of him when he was speaking, when he stated this. So that's something he's been saying a lot recently, that if this war does not come to an end soon, and the hostages are not returned by the time that he gets into office, that all hell's going to break out. So, that could mean a lot of different things. And I was kind of wondering what he may be talking about in terms of that. I thought, is the U.S. going to now get involved in this? Or are they going to send troops down to the Gaza Strip to take care of this? Or what's going to happen here? Are they just going to start relentlessly start bombing Gaza? Maybe the U.S. will get involved with these airstrikes, or what's going to happen here. But I did find some information that I can show you here from Aviva Klompas, U.S. Vice President-elect J.D. Vance, on what Trump means when he threatens all hell will break loose if the hostages aren't released. It means enabling the Israelis to knock out the final couple of battalions of Hamas and their leadership. It means very aggressive sanctions and financial penalties on those who are supporting terrorist organizations in the Middle East. Okay, so this was something stated by J.D. Vance actually on Fox News during an interview. That is reportedly what he stated, okay? So it would enable Israel to essentially destroy Hamas, which I'm surprised they haven't been able to do that already with now a year fighting in the Gaza Strip. As far as we know, Hamas is still intact. They may have been degraded to some extent, but for the most part, Israel has still been getting attacked from time to time from rockets fired from the Gaza Strip. They're still relentlessly bombing Gaza, so they're not completely done with Hamas. And this is something that Benjamin Netanyahu mentioned a lot throughout the duration of this war, was that, he wanted to destroy Hamas, their capabilities, remove them from the Gaza Strip completely, but that's not the case up until this point. So I'm very curious to see how that's going to work out moving forward, as well as, if we see this truce deal go into effect, Hamas is still going to exist in the Gaza Strip, okay? So that was some of the details coming out from J.D. Vance, who is the president-elect under Donald Trump, and he'll be the soon to be the vice president when inaugurated on January 20th also. And so it looks like major sanctions, financial penalties will be placed onto Hamas and other organizations or countries that are supporting whatever terrorist organization that Donald Trump and J.D. Vance, their team, the Trump team, ends up designating any of these as terrorist organizations. They'll go after any of those supporting parties. So lots of information coming out over here from the Gaza Strip, and we'll see if this war ends up ending by the end of the week. It's very possible, and if we do get that information, I will give you guys another update on this situation, but stay tuned for that. So I want to thank you so much for tuning in for this update. If you got something out of this, please smash that like button. Also, if you enjoy my content, please consider subscribing down below. Hit the notification bell. That way YouTube can notify you. With that, hope you all have a great day. Everybody take care and God bless, and we'll see you in the next one.